Hey, this is MJ coming at you once again with another Fooly operational analysis. This time I'm talking about The Mandalorian Season 1, Episode 4. The name of this chapter is Sanctuary for, good reason. They're looking for sanctuary, trying to get away from bounty hunters and such. And this episode was, I believe it was written by, I think they're all credited as being written by Jon Favreau. I didn't double check it. I'm not going to at the moment, but I'm just going to assume that it was Jon Favreau, and the direction was actually done by Bryce Dallas Howard, who, I don't know if this is the first thing she's directed or not, but, and I don't remember from watching the behind the scenes thing, but anyway, Bryce Dallas Howard, the actress, the daughter of Ron Howard, who famously got his start with, Lucas doing American Graffiti, not his start, but who did American Graffiti and, other stuff. Anyway, I really liked the episode. Basically, I have so far really liked every episode of Mando that I've seen, and there hasn't really been a reason to complain about him. I'm sure there's little things that'll pop up that, I don't like, or, that could have been done better or whatever. But, I'm going through the series, and I think it's well made. Based on the little things I see that I've seen, kind of repeat themselves, or like the patterns that have started to emerge over the course of the series. It seems like it's just good quality stuff. It's well made, and it's going to keep delivering. And I don't know if there's anything I can do that'll really upset me or make me hate it or anything like that. And there's not, it's very entertaining, but I'm not sure there's enough depth to chew on things and really get into them. I don't know the average length of these analyses that I've been doing for Mando so far, but this one, and I always say this and then I go super long. This one I don't feel is going to be very long. So we have, he's on this sanctuary planet, and the Mando's on this sanctuary planet, and he and the child are there trying not to get killed. They're trying to stay away from bounty hunters and such, and they end up getting dragged into, or not dragged into, Mando gets propositioned by these people who were raided that, he can be a mercenary, they can hire him with all the money they have to come and fight off these marauders. And it kind of turns into a Seven Samurai type situation, because he brings Cara Dune into it, and she's a, ex-Republic, call him drop trooper, I think is what they called, something like that. Anyway, she's a hard case. She's battle hardened. She's been tested and proved, and she and Mando tussle. And I gotta say, probably the thing I liked most about their interaction and their basically all their interactions is they're both, she's a retired soldier, right, and he's a Mandalorian, and I don't know how old he is. It's not clear to me that his section or his group of Mandalorians had any involvement in the Rebel Alliance or in bringing down the Empire or anything like that. But obviously she was doing that, and she's a good person. She has to be. She doesn't have to be a good person, but based on their interactions in the episode, she's a good person, and she wanted to pull out of her involvement with the New Republic because it got political. And when it got political, it got messy and it got dirty, and maybe she didn't want to have her. It's funny to think that a soldier doing their job, going and killing bad people, especially with how dirty or how bad we know the Empire was, that person would draw the line at getting involved in things being too political. And maybe it's because she's had her fill of war and whatnot, and she just sees things as look, I'm okay with crossing that line and pulling the trigger on Imperials, but when it gets to the point of I have to go try to enforce things on other people, good people, I don't want to do that. I don't feel morally comfortable doing that. So now she's off doing whatever she can, and I can't remember why she has a mark on her, but she does have a bounty hunting mark on her, and that's why when she saw the Mandalorian, they fought, because she figured, well, this guy's after me, he must have a fob. Mandalorians, one of the things they do is bounty hunt, so he must be coming after me. So anyway, I thought that was really interesting. It was even more interesting when sorry, I forgot to say, I like laughed out loud and was delighted seeing them fight, because like he's punching her in the face, she's punching him, in the helmet and stuff. It's just like, I love how equally they were treated, and how they're on like very similar ground to each other. And it's not like, oh, she's a woman, I'm not going to hit her. It's like, no, Mandalorians, they're going to beat you up if they have to. They're going to fight and kill if they have to. And like, to me, there's like a level of respect and a level of, I don't know if it, like, beyond respect. I can't think of another word to use besides respect, but like, you're regarding that person as an equal. If they're going to come at you, you're going to hit them as hard and as fast as you can. And like, isn't that what everybody wants? Don't people want for treatment to be equal and stuff? And I just think that's cool. And I'm not saying, of course, that like I want women to be conscripted in the military, but I don't want men to be conscripted either. But like, if we're equal, we're equal. And I just like how they kind of played with that idea here in this episode. So that was a lot of fun. But then we get to experience some different people, and basically everybody. It's funny how interesting. It's interesting to me that when the village guys, when the village people came to the Mando and they were propositioning him, he stayed very quiet. His responses were very light, very limited, very short, and there was a silence, and these guys filled in the silence with information that like told us a lot about the world, but it also told us a lot about them and contrasted them with the Mandalorian. And one of the things, I recently heard that it's a great business tactic or negotiating tactic to be silent. You state something, you state what you want or what you do not want, and then you let the other person who you're interacting with respond. And that there is a great power in that silence. And I think that's an interesting concept. And obviously, I noticed it in the episode, in the like I said, in the interaction, and it just kind of impressed me that there is a power in silence, especially because it's uncomfortable for there to be all that silence, and people want to fill that void, so to speak. So they will speak into that void, and it can be very informative. Of course, the circumstances all color it whatever particular way it's going to be colored, but I think the fact kind of stands that having that silence and presenting an opportunity for somebody else to fill it does make for an effective tactic, both in like one's personal life, which I won't get into all the ways that you could leverage that for yourself, but here in the story it enables the exposition to come through in a very natural way. And like I said, it highlights the differences between these farmers and the Mandalorian. And there was even a thing, I can't remember what he said. He asked something about them having like being out in the sticks, basically. And the guy said, yeah, didn't you hear that? We said we're farmers. Or the guy responded with something like that. And it kind of struck me as perhaps the Mandalorian didn't really, he wasn't fully listening, wasn't paying his full attention to the matter, because I'm not going to deal with these guys, but I'll hear what they say, but I'm not really going to take it in. And that was kind of an interesting thing, because it made me think, I wonder, and it's funny because the Mando is silent, right? We know so little about him. I'm imprinting all these ideas onto him. I'm thinking, well, is it possible that Mandalorians, or this guy in particular, has a practice of just being situationally aware, and you keep a running stock or inventory in your head of what are your vulnerabilities and what are your strengths and weaknesses, and how can you leverage all those things? And there's a constant assessing of your state and the state of others around you, so that you can make the best, so you can survive basically, so you can survive and thrive and whatnot. And it was cool because in the course of that conversation, he latched onto the idea that these guys are out in the sticks and he could take the child there, because he didn't want to have to, well, he was preparing to leave the planet because Cara Dune and him couldn't share it, basically. But he decides to take the opportunity to have sanctuary by going with these people, and then they get the whole Seven Samurai thing going on, where he hires her to help fight them, and that was cool. It's just funny because we've seen, there's only so many stories, but like Seven Samurai has been told in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, I think twice, really. Once it was Ahsoka and Obi-Wan, maybe Anakin, leading these villagers against these marauders who happen to be Hondo Ohnaka and his men. And then I think earlier on in Jedi Crash with Aayla Secura, there's the peaceful. They don't want to fight. They look like lemurs. I think they're called lurmens, and they don't want to fight either. And then they end up kind of having to. And some of their young get involved in the fight, but the older ones don't. And I don't know if that's so much a Seven Samurai situation, because Seven Samurai specifically is these people are being raided by a group of individuals, and they're too scared to fight them. And the heroic people or the martial people come along, and they instruct them in the ways of war a little bit and help them to fight off their enemy, so that the enemy will never come back. Basically, because it's the whole give a man a fish or krill idea, but they're teaching them to fish, but it's fighting instead. So it was really cool. I liked the little interplay of romance. It was funny, we were watching it as a family the other night, and my second said to me something like, "Oh, the Mandalorian wants to take off his helmet right now," because like the kids have gotten into it and like, "Oh, he doesn't take off his helmet," but she said that when he and that lady with the kid were talking, the widow, when he and the widow were talking, and my eldest said like, "No, he's not going to do that," or like, how do you know? And the second was just like, "Oh, I know." So I think she was picking up on like romantic tension, and that's funny. Again, given that idea of like feeling like us projecting into the situation what we're feeling with the silence. And my kids are kind of into like romance. They talk about like couples, and like they're just cognizant of it. And it's funny, I'll hear them talking or playing with their toys or whatever, and they'll like talk about, oh, this couple or that couple or whatever. And like even when I originally watched this episode, I kind of felt the tension, and like Cara pointed out to Mando like, "Oh, you're just gonna leave like that beautiful widow here? You don't want to like stay here and make a life or whatever, like, and you're just gonna do it, you're gonna stick to the way just so that you can stick to the way for the sake of sticking to the way?" Because it's funny, the way is so ill-defined, and we're just getting little snippets of it, that it makes it sounds cool, and I think part of the draw of it is the mystery. But I also think it's if the way was dumb, it wouldn't work. Like the Mandos would not keep the way if it didn't have utility to them, and if it wasn't effective. And that doesn't mean that some of the way isn't harsh or strange or whatever, but excuse me, I still think it's interesting, and I think part of the reason it's interesting to us as an audience, or to me as an audience, is that like I don't fully know what the way is, but I get the way because I have my own way that I walk in my life, and I'm not sure what else to say about that, but regardless, it was nice to have an episode where there was a kind of a chance to catch your breath, a great change of pace as far as what the scenery looked like, or I should say change of scenery. You have this beautiful verdant, valley. There's the little village with the restaurant or whatever, and like all this stuff is really great. And I think just the dynamics of switching back and forth between what we're getting is doing enough to keep it all engaging, even though it kind of does follow a simple formula of the Mandalorian needs to get something, he tries to get it, he has difficulty getting it, and then he gets it. Or he has the thing he wants, he's trying to go somewhere else with it, he gets interrupted from that, he has to deal with something, and then he can go on and do the thing that he's going to do, or leave to wherever he's going to go. But the funny thing about that is, because I've heard that as a criticism, which I think is kind of silly, because that's what all of life is. You wake up every day, you have to do things, complications arise, you have to take care of them, and then you go to sleep and it's the same thing over and over again. So there seems to be part of the reason I like the show so much is that we get to see a cool guy doing cool stuff in cool circumstances, and it's just nice how there's all these little threads or there's separate elements that draw you in. So my kids kind of like the romance thing. They think the child is adorable. They think the Mando is cool, even though some of the action is a little too much for them. One of my eldest, actually, she thinks Cara Dune is awesome. And like we'd watched the episode months ago, so maybe she remembers her from then. But I'm not like propagandizing my kids with Star Wars stuff all the time. So I think she heard about her from somebody else recently, and probably watching her tussle with the Mando was pretty cool. I'm going to ask her what she thought about that, because I'd be interested to get her perspective. Anyway, but yeah, like it's so neat. And then like I said, there's different things that pull different people in. The little, like, the temptation of the Mando to stay there and become a farmer and like abandon the Mandalorian clan was cool. It was nice to see him struggle with that, and it really looked like he did struggle with it. How far he let the Widow get his helmet up shocked me. It shocked me then, and it shocked me now. And I was waiting and waiting and waiting for him to stop her. And I loved the sense of resignation that he had when he told her, I can't do this. And then I really liked the idea that he wanted to leave the child there, and then obviously when we realized the fobs are active still or again, and that he can't because bounty hunters will come after him, that was really, really interesting. And it's nice how he keeps trying to like push things off of himself, and then the narrative just keeps him obligated or keeps him basically in a place where he has to deal with these things. And again, like I said, that's kind of what life is. And I wonder if some aspect of that, like, people get that subconsciously, and it's like, man, yeah, me too. I'm going out there every day in my Beskar, just trying to do what I can, trying to make things right, or, whatever, just trying to survive. I wonder how much of it's that. I don't know. The whole thing with the ATST at the big battle, like, that was super cool. I liked the montage of them getting the people ready. I like knowing that it took them weeks, so like they were there for at least 3 weeks. I hope it was a little more. It's nice to know that this is all happening over a span of time, and that there's those little markers being thrown out, because it is good to see how, like, that's just 3 weeks spending time together and seeing the Mando, like, you watching your kid have fun with other kids, that's going to endear you to your kid, I think. That's what's true for me anyway. So like Mando's going to become more and more and more attached to the child, to the point where, you'll understand his rationale. Like, why would he, it's just one little life form, a little orphan he found, whatever. Yeah, he was an orphan too, whatever. But it's beyond that. It's not, oh, I was like that kid and, somebody saved me. That was wonderful. I want to do the same for them. It's like, now he will have an attachment to the child and, do whatever he has to do for him. And it's nice that that's all being developed and set up so that we can have kind of just for it's not just for the big payoff, but like there's that journey of going through all that, and then there's the destination of getting to the point where we get to see him go all out to save the child again, down the line. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say. I feel like I'm very much losing the thread and just starting to ramble a bit here, and I really don't want to do that. I want to be respectful of your time. I really love one last thing though. I really love the fact that we get to see these beautiful locations in these shows and in the movies, and that Star Wars isn't just about space. Like, it's about people, and people have to live in habitable planets, and we get to see some really great stuff. So like the little village was really awesome to see, and I guess even the town and the farm were really nice to see. They have similar architecture, which is cool. That makes sense, but it just adds a unity to the two worlds, even though there's the village or city, whatever, little town, and then the farm off on its own. And just, I don't know, I really like it. It was nice seeing Mando and the child in such a situation, such a circumstance, and just, I love how different it was and how it's refreshing to get that contrast between locations. Also, one little note, I don't know if this is going to pay off like in season 2 or later in season 1, but we got to see the child eat a frog in the first episode. First? Yeah, I think the first episode. Anyway, then in this episode, he almost eats a frog. The kids, have him let it go or whatever. And I don't know if there's going to be another frog thing. I think it's a little absurd and fun that Yoda is like a frog man, and we have this child of his species, eating a frog very happily, and that seems kind of weird. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I will let you go. Thank you for your time and attention. And please look forward to another one of these. I hope to get them out pretty quickly from here on out, but we'll see what happens. Life is busy. Busy writing. I had a ton of work to do and was getting up early, staying up late because that's how life is. It's a struggle, and I'm hoping now that I'll be able to get these done pretty quickly, and hopefully I can prioritize early in the week getting all my writing stuff done, querying and developing this comic project that I want to work on. I have a name for it, Project Triune. That's the code name for it or whatever. I'll hopefully change it to something a lot better and more attractive in the future. But that's the kind of thing I have to work on developing, as well as querying that, or my one book for sure, and then hopefully 2 or maybe even 3 books all this week, so that hopefully I can bring that cheddar in. I want. I'm not a bounty hunter. I can't just go find people and bring them in. So I got to do it some other way. Anyway, that's all. Look forward to more of my coverage of this. Fully Operational lives over at mjmunoz.com/fu, or sorry, mjmunoz.com/FO. Fully Operational. That's what it stands for. And anyway, that's where you can find a list of the episodes. I'll have the latest one posted on top, and then I'll have the full list of episodes below. And then you can find the audio RSS feed for that for you to use for iTunes or Spotify or whatever. And then you can also find the video versions there. So that's about it. I don't have anything else to say. Look forward to the next one. Like, share, spread this around, comment, ask me questions, give me some pushback. I'd love some interaction, but I am going to, push through the rest of these Mando episodes as quickly as I can. So anyway, take care, folks. May the Force be with you. And remember, balance. Balance is important.